Cooking with the vegan zombie. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with the Vegan Zombie. And I want to keep things festive because it's December and I always feel like from October until January, it's all about the holidays. And when I think of holidays, I'm thinking, maple syrup and nutmeg and cloves and pumpkin pies and all that stuff. So this recipe is kind of fall inspired and we are going to make a maple mustard tempeh dish. I hope you guys like it. What do you say we get started? This dish is inspired by Gabby, who made a tempeh dish with us a few months ago when we visited her at Tamerlane Farms. We're gonna kind of use a variation of her braised tempeh, and that's what we're gonna do first. We're gonna braise the tempeh in kind of a fall liquid, I like to call it. For the braising liquid, we're gonna start with a cup of water. I'm putting it in a casserole dish because it's going to go into the oven at 400 degrees. We got a cup of apple cider. For those of you who aren't from America, this is non-alcoholic apple cider. It's more of a pressed apple juice, sort of. They do make hard cider, which is alcoholic, but this is the non-alcoholic stuff. It's got a sweet, appley taste, if you will. All right, next we're going to add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Gonna give it that little tang. 2 tablespoons of olive oil, extra virgin, of course. 2 teaspoons of liquid smoke. A tablespoon of Bragg's liquid aminos. You can use soy sauce here as well, that's fine. Now, some spices. We're gonna put some clove in here. This stuff's powerful, so be careful. I got a 1/4 teaspoon I'm gonna add to the mix. We're gonna go with 1 full teaspoon of chili powder. Some cayenne pepper. If you wanna add it, make it a little spicy, add a little more. I'm gonna go with a 1/2 teaspoon, because you all know me, I'm a big baby. I can fight zombies, but I can't fight hot spices. Teaspoon of cumin. A teaspoon of black peppercorns. I leave them whole in here because it's just going to be braising. Not going to eat them. And you can tell which spice I use the most here. It's going to be 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika and a little bit of salt. Probably a teaspoon-ish. Next, I'm going to add some chopped stuff. I got a chunk of ginger about the size of a human thumb. Just going to chop that up. You can leave it in big chunks like this. That's fine. Before I add the chunky stuff, let me just whisk this all together. A whisk, whisk, whisk. Add the ginger. We're gonna crush 3 cloves of garlic. I got a small onion, a smunion here. That's what it looked like before I chopped it in half with my ninja skills. I'm just gonna cut them up into big chunks. Or medium chunks, I guess I went with. Changed my mind midway. Add those to the party. And that's our liquid. That's what we're gonna cook our tempeh in. Smells yummy. Let's talk tempeh for a second here. This is my favorite tempeh to use. Some tempeh out there, it's a little mushy. When you go to cut it, it just doesn't cut very well. It just kind of smushes together. This stuff is really dense and it works really well for this recipe. So to cut this, we're gonna cut it right in half at an angle, just to get it out of the packaging, because that's the hardest part. For those of you who've never had tempeh before, it's a pressed soybean. It's pressed and fermented. It's actually one of the better forms of soy to eat if you're gonna eat soy. It aids in the digestive process, and if flavored the right way, it's really yummy. So I want to slice this nice and thin. So I'm gonna slice this on the bias. See how well this kind of tempeh cuts? This is the soy boy variety, and it's just a plain soy one. The 5-grain one is actually really, really mushy for this recipe, so I would go with just a plain old tempeh. It's very nice. We are going to dunk it into our marinade or our braising liquid. There we go. Cover it. Pop it in the oven, 400 degrees for 1 hour. The tempeh you should make the day before, because the longer it marinates, the better the flavor is going to be. What I like about braising the tempeh first, you could certainly skip that step and boil your tempeh or steam it and then just put the sauce on, but it adds a whole depth of flavors when you braise it and then let it marinate overnight or even up to a week. So that's what we're going to do. In the meantime, we are going to make the maple mustard sauce now. I'm starting with 3 cups of water that I'm bringing to a boil. It's almost boiling right now, so let's start adding some of this stuff here. A teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of turmeric, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, a 1/4 cup of ground mustard. We're going to add a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, and for that zing and that pep that we need, a 1/4 cup of coconut vinegar, or you can use apple cider vinegar. A teaspoon of the smoked paprika. Last but not least, I'm going to put some fresh nutmeg in there. It's always better if you have a chunk of nutmeg laying around and you just, look at that. Isn't that pretty? We're gonna bring this to a boil. Okay, now to thicken up this sauce, to really make it come together, we're gonna add some cornstarch. What I did was I mixed a 1/4 cup cornstarch with a little bit of the liquid from the mustard sauce before I brought it up to a boil. And now I'm gonna add it right back in there. Bring it to a boil, and it should thicken right up. You basically want this to be the consistency where it sticks to the back of your spoon. You don't want it to be too watery. You also don't want it to turn into a disgusting pudding. Gross. We are going to put a small saute pan, medium saute pan, on medium heat, and we are going to add enough olive oil to coat the pan. There's a shot of our braised tempeh. Look how nice and dense that is. That's gonna cook really well. We're gonna just toss that in the mustard sauce. We're gonna toss it in the mustard. We're gonna pan fry it, and then we're gonna put a little bit of mustard on right at the end. And when I say mustard, I'm obviously talking about the maple mustard sauce that we just made. Fry it up to get a little bit of color on there, basically till it's golden brown on each side. Once you dip the tempeh in that mustard sauce, we're gonna get a non-stick on medium heat. Typically, this is meant for a nice griddle recipe or a grill in the summertime. But since it's cold out there, baby, we're gonna go with a non-stick. If you use oil, use very little, because when oil mixes with water, it sprays everywhere. You get hot oil all over your face and look like a zombie for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever it is you celebrate this time of year. So all I'm trying to do right now is get a little bit of color on the tempeh. That's the color we're looking for right there, guys. So we got a great color on here on the tempeh. Nice little crust formed. And I want to drizzle a little bit more of this delicious maple mustard sauce while it's still hot off the press. I think this is something fun to bring to the table if you have any vegan potlucks. You know, in your local zombie apocalypse area. A little chive action for fun. Take a little piece off here and do a cross section cut. I love how dense the tempeh is. It's not falling apart. It's really nice. Which reminds me, as I cut this, I wanted to talk about this knife here. This knife was sent to us by Cut Above Cutlery, and they are actually sponsoring this video. It's an amazing knife. It's got a great weight to it. It cuts. It's sharp. It can fend off zombies. And you know, it's the holiday season, so if you're looking for a gift, there's actually going to be a 10% off coupon code in the link below. So if you guys want to check this knife out, I think it'd be a great gift idea, or at home, or fighting off zombies. So make sure you check it out. And thanks, guys, for sending this out this way. Alrighty, the taste test, my favorite. What I love about this recipe is you get the initial mustard mapley taste, but after that, it starts to break down those flavors from the braising liquid. And a lot going on. It's a party in your mouth. That's why it's always good to bring it to a party, so everybody can have that party in their mouth. Tempeh is an acquired taste for a lot of people. I think if you have any hesitation to try tempeh, you should try this recipe, because I think it's really, really yummy. As always, you guys, subscribe and survive. Check out our Patreon, because a little bit can help us go a long way. If you guys like our videos, you like the content we keep putting out, you know, a dollar can actually stretch out a long way when it comes to making these videos for you guys. So thanks for watching, and happy holidays from the Vegan Zombie crew. Also, just hot off the press are these t-shirt material hoodies. Really thin, super comfortable, limited edition. So if you guys want to get one of these bad boys, get them while the getting is good. And go to the link below on our website and make sure you buy one of these. Want to cook with your dad? You want to cook with your dad?